Hi, today we are going to be talking about how we fold our pelts to keep them free from pests, from dust, and from exposure to natural sunlight and fluorescent lights. So what I have here is something called unbleached muslin, M-U-S-L-I-N. So this is just a very common fabric that can be found online at Joann Fabric, anywhere that you can buy fabric from. We want to get the unbleached kind because that's what's going to be best for our pelts. You can get it in like a pretty significant roll for about $5 a yard. And what we want to do is we want to give this a good wash before we wrap our pelts in it, just in case, and then dry it and then cut it to the length of the pelts that you need. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more as we start to fold. And then what you want to do is you want to take whatever inventory number you have and you want to write that in whatever you want, Sharpie on the outside, just so that you're not sorting through all your pelts to try and find it. If you want, you can also label what it is on the outside. Sometimes we do, sometimes we just, for the really popular ones, we know exactly what's inside this one. So the first thing that you want to do is see whether the pelt that you are trying to fold has a head or not. So this tiger does not have a head. So what we want to do when we are rolling this pelt is we would like to roll towards the tail with the fur on the inside. That will protect the fur, and also it will protect the tail because there's really not much up here that we need to worry about. We gently fold the paws in. And make sure that there's no excess creasing. And then what you want to do is you want to start from where the head would be, and you want to give a nice, gentle roll. We don't want it to be too tight. We don't actually want it to stay in that shape forever. We don't want to form any lasting creases. And then we fold the tail as such. Okay, so once you have your washed, unbleached muslin that is labeled on the opposite side of where you are, and you have your folded pelt, you are ready to wrap. So what we do is we will take the folded pelt and we will set it nice and square in the center of our pelt. So what I recommend when you are initially cutting the fabric is that you lay the pelt in the center of a piece while it is still attached to the roll, and make sure that each side can fold over like a nice clean fold. We don't want any chance of it coming undone. And this is because we are protecting the pelt from pests and light and other things. And if the pelt unrolls easily, if the fabric is too short, that means that we are not actually protecting it. So we want to make sure that there's like a good, I would say, 5 to 6 inches on each side, and enough space on the outside to actually fold over and cover the entire pelt. So what we are going to start with is we are going to take the sides and we are going to do just that. We are going to fold them over and make sure that they are completely folded over on each side. The next thing that we are going to do is we are going to take the side that is closest to us and we are going to wrap it over the pelt. And then finally, the last thing that we are going to do is we are going to pull the side opposite us over the pelt, and you will see that our inventory number is nicely displayed on the outside. And now we are going to tie up the ends so that they do not come loose. So this is the other thing that you will need to purchase. This is called twill tape. You buy it in a roll. Sometimes it's called hem tape as well. It's very easy to find. I bought a bunch of rolls on Amazon and it was actually pretty reasonably priced. This is also unbleached, but you don't have to wash the entire roll. This should be fine because it's not touching the actual pelt, it's just going on the outside. But what I like to do is I like to cut strips that are tight enough or long enough so that you can tie a bow, but not so small that you have to tie a knot, and not so big that you're actually wasting material. So what I do is I go underneath, I go about maybe a quarter of the way into the pelt, and then I tie, not too tight. You don't want to pull, you don't want to yank on it. You just want it to be firm. And then give yourself enough to do a little bow or some kind of knot if you are good at getting those out. And then you can see it's held firmly over here. And you go on the other side and you do the same thing. Again, not too tight. This one obviously has more room on it, so I'm gonna make a nice bow, and I'm actually gonna double it. And what you have is a pelt that is now protected on either side and on the inside from fluorescent lights, from sunlight, and also from dust and other potential pests. So now what we are going to do is we are going to fold another tiger pelt, but you will notice that this one actually has a head. So we fold these a little bit differently, not too much. We'll change about it, but it is important that if your pelt has a head, we want to roll towards the head because we want to protect all the smaller things like the whiskers, the nose. We want to protect that. So we're going to do the same thing, only this time I'm going to take my tail and I'm going to gently fold it in. And then I will start to gently fold my paws in. So again, this pelt is in very good condition. What I would do with this particular one, if I had the resources, is I would take some larger PVC piping, wrap it in some ethofoam, and then roll the paw over that so that there was a little bit of a buffer. But for today, this is the cheapest and easiest way to protect the pelts. So you take the paw and you just gently fold it in. Make sure that there are as few creases as possible and that you're not trapping anything underneath. So I'm going to fold the other paw in now as well. And then I am going to gently do a nice loose roll. And then I'm going to take my other paw and make sure that there are no creases. And give this 1, 2, 3. And now we are ready to wrap the pelt. So folding a pelt with a head in the unbleached muslin is the same as folding a pelt with no head. The only thing that you want to be aware of is that because the head has just been folded at the very end, that you want to avoid crumpling it or smushing it. You want to just gently fold it down, and I always put it at the bottom, and then you just begin folding just like normal. You want to make sure that, again, you have enough space to fully cover on both sides. So we'll do the edges, we'll fold over, and then we will fold the furthest side in. And again, we have our number and our animal name displayed here. And then just like before, you would gently take your twill tape and firmly but not tightly tie off the ends. And then you have a pelt that is ready to be stored, that is going to be protected from moisture, from lights, from pests, and from natural sunlight.